Welcome to Business Line's State of the Economy podcast, where you'll find insight, analysis, and the story behind the numbers.
Hi listeners, this is Subramani Ra Mancombu, Head of Commodities and Agri-Business vertical in Business Line. Welcome to yet another episode of Business Line's State of the Economy podcast on commodities. Platinum prices have slipped below $9,000 an ounce from the 3-month peak witnessed during November end. This was due to a rise in US dollar and uncertainties over China's economic recovery. However, demand for the precious white metal has been increasing in India, particularly when gold demand has been declining. In 2022, demand for platinum increased 6%. The metal's prices are also competitive compared to gold. That probably presents an advantage to platinum. So how does the Platinum Guild International, or PGI, plan to make it popular among consumers? To give us an insight on this, we have with us Ms. Vaishali Banerjee, Managing Director, PGI India. Welcome to Business Line's State of the Economy podcast, ma'am. I would want to start because we have seen how PGI has gone about trying to get more consumers buy platinum. Right now, I would want to start with this question saying, who are the consumers of platinum and how have they evolved over the last couple of years and what has been the buying pattern?
So on the platinum consumer, we have three branded categories. One is the Platinum Days of Love, which is all about your wedding bands, commitment rings, anniversary brands, anything that really commemorates love between a couple. We have Ivara, which is all about women's jewelry, whether it is self-purchase or gifted by your loved ones, friends, family. And then we have Men of Platinum, which really talks to young men both for self-purchase and gifting. So if we look at the target group, the consumer group across these three brands, we would say our consumers are anything early 20s to early 40s, depending on which brand and which life stage they're at. But one thing that is common within all our audience profiles is that they are very digital-led. As we know, the young in India, they're absolute digital natives. They have a very strong sense of self while being very rooted to their culture, their traditions. And this is the beauty of India. We are able to manage modernity and contemporary lifestyles with a strong rooting in our traditions and in our culture. What this young consumer is really looking at from jewelry, as we have found over the years that we have worked with the young consumers, is that they're looking for jewelry that talks to them. So it has to be differentiated. It needs to be an expression of their selves. It needs to have meaning, because jewelry they buy for themselves, or they are gifting it to someone very special. So both the giver and the receiver of this piece of jewelry, it's a very, very significant and precious moment. So the jewelry needs to have meaning. It needs to talk to their sense of design and their sense of self, which is different in different parts of India. But it is something that I think is an expectation from them in terms of precious jewelry. What is really encouraging is that precious jewelry is very important in their lives. And this is, I think, culture. It is embedded in our culture. It's the importance of jewelry. And it is so with this audience as well, as long as we from the jewelry industry keep the pieces of jewelry relevant to them. What we've seen in terms of platinum is, while we began with a very, very urban, metrocentric kind of acceptance, right now the acceptance and the desire and preference for platinum has spread right through into tier 2, tier 3 cities, wherever there is this young consumer and they connect with platinum.
The gold has recently topped $2,000 an ounce. Now, compared to that, or even the sort of prices that silver are ruling. Now, how do you see the competitiveness of platinum? Because if you see $2,000 for gold and then say about today's rate, about $890 for platinum, do you think that there's a real gain for platinum to make some inroads?
The price, of course, it has an impact on the decision making, but I would just like to just step back from price and say, if we are talking to this young consumer, what is really driving platinum desire, preference, and platinum acquisition and buying is really about the qualities of the metal, because it is a really very precious metal. It is extremely rare and it is everlasting. The metal qualities really talk to this young consumer. The designs that they have in the jewelry really speak to them. Each of the designs under each of the branded categories has a story to tell. And the story is part of a very, very emotional, significant moment that they are buying precious jewelry. So we've seen that the reasons to buy platinum is just beyond just a price point, because this is a metal that talks to them. It talks to their sense of self. It talks to their self-expression. It talks to their emotions. And it is a piece of jewelry that actually reflects who they are, whether they are a receiver, giver, or buyer for themselves. What the price does is that it allows new people into the jewelry spectrum for platinum, because we are able to offer a larger range of jewelry in each of our branded categories, which is very consumer friendly in terms of price. So it really helps people to walk into the category, to experience platinum, because at the end of the day, of course, it's a decision that the consumer must make for themselves. But what the price allows is an entry point to the category, and to have very, really beautiful pieces of jewelry available at very consumer-friendly prices. And I think what is also important is the store of value, because being such a precious metal, it sits actually right on top of the pyramid and is able to access the qualities of this metal at a very accessible price point.
We happen to see a popular cricketer, especially the star of T20, Suryakumar Yadav, doing a lot of promotion for platinum. I mean, it's really coming out and, sort of shows that, how we are trying to promote platinum. Now, how does PGI plan to make platinum more popular in the country?
As I mentioned before, we look at our three categories. These are the three largest segments in the jewelry, in the entire jewelry category. What we will work towards is continuously ensure that the consumer stays committed to platinum. And that would mean all our brand marketing. We use our brands to connect with the consumer. That is all about the emotion. That is all about significance. And that is all about creating relevance. So the consumer is at the heart of everything that we do. We keep the consumer front and center. We design for the consumer. We create the brand experience and relevance, keeping this consumer in mind. And because the consumer commitment, relevance, and desire for platinum has to grow year on year as we develop the market. Also, very important for us is to work with our partners, both retail partners and manufacturers. With retail partners, we are looking at significant expansion. As I mentioned to you, today platinum is available in tier 2, tier 3 markets, because it's very important for platinum to be present there. If there is a consumer who wants to try platinum, wants to experience platinum also, or even wants to see platinum, there has to be stores that offer platinum. So retail expansion is very, very important to us. Also, we will look at a very, very strong manufacturing partnership, so to ensure that we constantly update our design. We use international trends, because this is a digital consumer. There are very few geographical boundaries anymore in the digital world. So aspirations are global. So we take a lot of learning from global jewelry trends. We look at India trends, and we then make the designs that talk to her. So we will focus on ensuring that the design is to date, absolutely up to date with the global trends, and relevant in India. So design is a very, very strong part of our offering. We also look at seeing how we can expand occasions of buying under each of these branded categories. So if a consumer has bought platinum for their wedding bands? Is there a piece of jewelry that talks to them for their anniversary, for their birthdays, for gifting? All moments of significance, we should have a piece of jewelry in platinum to offer to them, both men and women. So I think it's a combination of brand marketing, retail expansion, platinum brand experience at the retail stores, design. And of course, we work very, very closely with our retail partners for sales training and everything else, just so the last mile conversion at a retail store befits the platinum category.
Gold buyers are lured by buyback or exchange scheme. Are there any
Yeah.
such plans for platinum?
So, all retailers offer that, because whether the piece of jewelry comes back or not, I think it is almost like a hygiene expectation from the jewelry industry that buyback exchange is offered, because that is, I think, a consumer expectation. Everybody offers it on platinum as well. But what we have to keep in mind is, because platinum is bought for moments of significance, we don't see much of the returns happening. But having said that, it's a minimum expectation from the entire all the industry, from the consumer. So yes, of course, platinum also offers that across all our partners. So each of the retailers will have their own buyback exchange, as they have for gold or diamonds, and platinum is part of that because it's part of the precious jewelry category.
We're talking about design being integral part of promoting platinum. Now,
Yes.
Is there any threat for platinum from lab-grown diamonds? Because even the lab-grown diamond sellers, they are saying that they have got umpteen number of designs. How do you see this panning out?
So I don't see a threat really, because the stone, especially if it's a precious stone, needs to be set in a metal. So platinum, by its very nature, is a very, very good metal to set any precious stone or any stones whatsoever. It's dense, it's strong, and it really holds a stone very, very securely. Therefore, the world over and in India, you will see all very, very precious stones set in platinum, because it's a very secure metal to hold your gemstones. We don't really see threat in that way, because it is really about offering the consumer what they want. And platinum as a metal is available for all precious stones, actually, because it actually should be an option for the consumer to decide what they want it set in. And having said that, I think there is room for multiple categories and players to exist in the market. It doesn't have to become a versus, it can be an and, because luckily for us, India has a vibrant jewelry culture, and it has strong desire for jewelry. So as long as we, from an industry perspective, can continue to work towards fulfilling the consumer need, I think there can be a role for everybody.
Barring the COVID period, when almost all sorts of precious metals took a hit, I remember PGI saying that you have got over the COVID period and the consumption, demand,
that's right.
Everything. So how has been the last, last particular 1 year or so for platinum? And how do you think the demand is like?
22 has been very good. In fact, we got 26% growth in retail sales. So we are actually back to pre-COVID demand growth. Pre-COVID, we used to get anything between 20-25% growth year on year, and we are back to that. So we are back on track. I think thankfully COVID is behind us. This year as well, we are looking at a good 2023 so far. There have been periods of dips, but the recovery has been very strong. So I think overall we will look at a strong 2023. And I think it is up to us to ensure that the growth continues by ensuring that we fulfill the consumer needs, and we keep the consumer right in front of us, and keep giving them jewelry that they want to buy.
Fine, ma'am. Thank you. It's been really nice talking to you. And
thank you very much. It was lovely to talk to you as well.